Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, I'm finally going to be adding my rally stripes to the car. Stay tuned. So for anybody that didn't see the last video, this is the vinyl that I got off of Amazon originally. It looked really good and the color matched up very well, but it's very thin. It's very cheap vinyl. Somebody just printed it out. It's flat on the back. I squeegeed the heck out of this thing. I did it in parts to try to keep air from getting underneath, and it just didn't work out. There were bubbles all over it, but this is what I originally got. So let me show you what I've got now. This is everything that I've got for the new vinyl stripes. So here is the vinyl itself. I actually did get this off of Amazon as well, but it was from this company called Metro Restyling, and it is Avery Dennison vinyl, so that I know that it's high quality. I don't know what all else I'm gonna need, but these are the extras that I picked up. I got a soft measuring tape so that I can find my middle points and make sure everything is straight. I got some fine tipped Expo dry erase markers so that I can mark where I need to on the car and I can remove it easily. I've got some painter's masking tape, and then to cut the vinyl, I actually have this Design Line Knifeless tape by 3M. The downside to the good vinyl is it doesn't come in pre-cut widths like this one does. So I'm gonna have to mark this out, cut this, and then I'll be using the Design Line to cut it once it's actually on the car. The hardest part of doing this to me is making sure that everything is lined up and everything is straight. So I've watched a few videos. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do this yet, but as of right now, I think that I'm going to measure from this side at the top to this side and then mark my middle point. And then I'll do another one at the bottom, measure from here to here and mark my middle point, and then run my masking tape down the center and then measure over where I actually want to put the rally stripe at.
Perfect, 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 perfect.
All right, so I have all of my masking laid out for my 1-inch black stripe. So what I ended up doing was having to measure from this nozzle to this nozzle, take the halfway point, and I made a little mark right there. And then I came down here and did the same thing, measured from here all the way over, and then made my mark there. And then I just laid my masking as straight as I could, lining those two marks up, and it turned out pretty well. So then I already know that I want this nozzle to be the split in between my red stripe and my black stripe. So I made my two marks where I wanted them. I measured from this line over to this first mark, and then started measuring from my original line over to different places. So you can see one there. You can see one, you should be able to see that one right down in there. And I just lined this tape up with all of those marks. And then I know that my black stripe is going to be 1 inch. And I made more marks, again, lined my tape up. And so now I'm gonna lay my design line on either side, on this side of this tape and then on this side of this piece of tape. All right, guys, so I have the first stripe done on the hood. It did take a couple of hours to do it, which is not too bad. It's just measuring takes so long, but the 3M Knifeless tape works phenomenally. Like it cuts through perfectly. It's so easy to use. It's just laying out the tape, getting the knifeless tape laid down, and making sure that all of your measurements are correct. That's what is time consuming. I'm gonna go ahead and do the black on the rest of the car, and then I will come back and put the red on. I got a bunch of reference points, measuring from side to side, got my center line down, measured over, got my masking tape on this side of it, measured an inch over, got that masking tape on, and then I just got through laying down the knifeless tape. So I'm gonna go cut the vinyl, and then we'll lay it down and strip it off. I wanted to show you how I did the wing here. I kind of just made this up on my own. I'm sure it's the way that people do it, but this side over here cut perfect. So what I ended up doing is, I don't want this to wrap. I want it to just kind of flow smoothly over. So what I ended up doing is just laying a piece of the knifeless. I didn't really measure anything out, just make sure it's straight, because it's, you know, nobody's really going to see this. And then I've got it just underneath that piece right there. So I'm going to lay this over, we'll cut it, and it'll make two perfect lines. I got the top of the hood done completely with the black stripes. So here's from the windshield to the sunroof, and then from the sunroof all the way back. And so just so you know, I used the knifeless tape here, and I showed you where I used it on that side so that it swings over, and then I actually used it again for the back so that it comes up right there. All right, I've got the top done, so I'm gonna start working on the back. I've already started on this center line. I had pretty good points of reference for this top part for the hatch, but this bottom bumper, there was nowhere on either side to get a good measurement from. So I just kind of eyeballed it and then stood back, made sure it was straight. It looks extremely straight to me. It looks even, so let's go from here. I got the back hatch done. Originally, I did say that I was going to do the whole thing all the way down, and I am. I just didn't want to do it all in one piece because I was too afraid that this was not going to be straight and lined up. So now that I have this piece done on the hatch, I can come down here and just eyeball the bumper and line it up that way. The other piece that I still need to do is the front of this bumper. Just like the rear, I did plan on doing this all in one piece, but I ended up actually running out of tape. I cut my piece of tape too short and I didn't want to have to redo it. So again, just like the rear bumper, I'm just going to eyeball this. It's a very small piece. I can get it straight, no problem. So I'm going to do all that off camera because it's the same process as everything else that I've already done. And then I'll come back and we'll start laying down the red stripe. All right, I've got the front stripe lined up. It was super easy to eyeball in the front here. Looks good, nice and straight. And then on the back here, actually wasn't too bad either. I got everything lined up how I liked it. And one good thing about this back is this little spot that I showed you guys in the last video. I'm still curious as to what this is, but my red stripe is going to cover that up completely. The other thing that I'm going to do is debadge this little focus emblem. I've been wanting to get rid of it anyway, so it's a good time to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and start laying down this red. Sorry guys, my GoPro's memory card filled up, so I didn't get to show you everything, but let me show you what I've got here. So I have this 1-inch blue masking tape, and all I did was just lay it right next to my black vinyl stripe. I measured 5 inches over, and with my dry erase marker just made my points, laid the orange masking tape over those, and then laid down my knifeless tape on either end of the masking tape. So I'm going to lay down my red vinyl, and I will show you guys the top and the back when I do that. And there is the finished product for the hood. I did end up having to lift it up about 3 or 4 times at the top just to get it straight. The black stripe being thinner was a lot easier to get lined up over the knifeless tape. And since I'm doing it by myself, I didn't have somebody to hold it down here and keep it in line. But it laid down perfect. All the bubbles, there was no bubbles at all. Everything came out super smooth. So I'm gonna move on and start working on the roof. All right guys, I got the entire roof done. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on and start working on the rear. Before I get started adding my red stripe to the rear, I am gonna try to remove this badge. I've seen people do it with heat guns, and I've got some dental floss. I've actually got some fishing line. I think that may work better. But I'm gonna show you guys the process, and then I'll explain kind of what I did afterwards. That was probably the easiest thing that I've done to the car so far. For some reason, I've never done this before. I really thought that that badge was going to be held on much tighter than what it was. And I literally just took the hairdryer, ran my dental floss behind it. It cut straight through, and then I peeled off the rest of the foam. It was actually a foam adhesive that was holding it on. So I peeled off the rest of the foam, and then I just used a mixture of Dawn dish soap and some water to clean the rest of the residue off. Super easy. I got the hatch completely done. Believe it or not, I actually did this once already, and you should see the footage of it. And that's why I went directly into the rest of it, because I could not get this crevice tight. I mean, I had no idea what to do, and it wasn't working. It was wrinkled all up. So I just took it all off. Luckily, my Knifeless tape stayed on there. I called a buddy of mine, and I started asking him, because he does vinyl on fleet trucks, on 18-wheelers and stuff like that. And he was telling me, he's like, you really got to lay into the heat, especially on these deep crevices and the fact that it's uneven right in here. So what I ended up doing actually is practicing on that side with that piece right there. And then once I kind of got comfortable with it and I felt like I was going to do pretty good, what I ended up doing is laying it on top here first, getting it down here, and then peeling all of this back. And then basically starting from the hardest point, which I think is right here, and then working my way down and out, and then working my way up from there. You really do have to take it like 1/8 of an inch at a time, and then I used a hair dryer just to heat up the vinyl to make it a little bit easier to stretch. Last piece I got to do is this bumper, and I'm done. Completely done. And that last little hatch, that thing was a pain in the butt, but got the whole car done. I ran over all the stripes with the blow dryer just to kind of heat it up, make sure that when it gets out in the hot sun, which it's fixing to get cold anyway, but I want to know that the heat's not going to affect this thing. But yeah, I went over the whole thing with the blow dryer and completely finished. Catch you guys next time.